I'd like to thank so much our sponsor, Bud Light Seltzer, for presenting this podcast. We love these drinks personally. I'm a huge fan of the Black Cherry Bud Light Seltzer. It is so refreshing. It is the best. We'll talk about this later. There's more to this.
You're killing me because I don't drink anymore.
I absolutely love it. So can't wait to talk more about them. Keep listening for more. Thank you, Bud Light Seltzer.
All right, hey, what's up, everybody? And it's time for another episode of the Bill
Bert.
Pod.
Gas.
And then it won't do it.
Hey, I want to talk to you about something. I'm firing hot, Bill. I got into a fight last night at a party. We went to some a friend's house, and we got into a disagreement about fucking raising children. And so,
ooh, you never bring that up, man. That's like bringing up politics or religion.
No, but I was on the. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
All right. So what was this person's ideas about raising kids?
In essence, they were you give the kid the tools to operate in society, and if the kid, and that's the parenting you do, and you can't go beyond that. And I was saying, yeah, but if there are influences outside of those tools, meaning say there's a parent that says, hey, all the kids can come to my house and drink. Well, I go, well, that parent is a piece of shit. That shouldn't be allowed. And then I say we need to kick that parent, get that parent. We need to fix that parent because that parent's undermining all these tools I taught my kid. And the argument at hand, and I should gloss over it because I was fucking lit.
What were they saying about the parent, the hypothetical person letting your kids drink?
You can't do it. You can't. There's nothing you can do about that, and you got to understand that is part of when you give your kid the tools. That is part of the negotiation.
I have to admit that's exactly what I thought. It's like this parent, unfortunately, is an obstacle. As you've prepared your kid to deal with other kids, you maybe you need to add to your game that they got to, the parent that's the cool parent is not cool.
It's not cool. Like, I was arguing last night. I never thought it was cool when I was in high school. Like when the mom said, if you guys want to drink, do it at our house. It wasn't fun if there were never chicks there. There was it was just like, oh great.
I was happy that they said it, but I didn't. I knew it was wrong, and I would always look at my buddy who's, if their parent or friend or whatever, and I would look at them and be like, now the pieces are starting to fit together.
Yeah, right. Like there was something. I remember watching this kid light a cigarette in 9th grade in front of his parents. He was like, "Hey, can I get a light?" And I remember being in his house thinking it was a joke, right? Because some kids were funny as fuck.
Right. Like
the Quinn family was an Irish Catholic family in Tampa, like 5 boys, 1 girl, and they were hilarious. Like when you'd walk in and immediately they go, "Hey, if you want something out of my refrigerator, just ask my mom." Mom, Bert's afraid to ask. And you'd be like, "I never said that." And they were just a funny fucking family. And so I remember those kids this kid lit a cigarette, and I was in 9th grade, and I was like, all I could think was, this isn't going to turn out well for you. Like,
oh yeah, no, that kid's done.
He is done.
Any parent that is doing that, I think it's if you're not just a straight up moron, it's a low self-esteem thing. It's an insecure thing where you can't go through those years where when your kid gets to a certain age and thinks they know everything, which is around 11 or 12, if I remember how I went through that phase, you can't be their buddy during that time. You have to plow through that and just understand this. All right, the kid's going to hate me for the next 6 to 8 years, 7, 8 years or whatever. And hopefully in their 20s, if I did my job, they're going to be like, yeah, I was an idiot,
Yeah.
Or maybe some of them, they don't learn until they have a kid. They're like, oh shit. You kind of have to have that feeling on some level, I think, maybe have a kid to understand of like, oh my God, if this goes off the rails, this is on me.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because
I just felt like I started to make a point. That was like the worst fucking thing. I started big. I felt there was momentum, and I just slid back down the hill on that statement.
What I find interesting is that what upset me last night was two things. This is hardcore, like probably more information than I should share. But I woke up this morning thinking my wife finds it easier to silence me than to be on my team in the argument. Like, she doesn't want the argument to happen at all, but it's already happened. So she knows she has more control silencing me than she does on my side. And I think and that was the first thing. And that's where I brought that up.
So at the party, you wanted your wife
to have my fucking back.
You wanted to tag and have Tony Gurria come over, right?
Yeah. And she was like, you're talking really loud. And I was like, that's how you fucking.
Oh, she's probably right, but I can't stand that. I hate when there's the person when you're getting into it with somebody else, and they want to get into it with you.
Yeah,
and you're both up here, and then someone just comes in like, guys, stop it.
Yeah.
And all I think then is what Brad Pitt did in that last fucking movie where he's slamming the fucking head off the mantle there. And I know that's wrong, obviously, but and I hate that we live in a world that I had to let people know now that I know that's wrong. Obviously, that's not something I hate the peacemaker when I'm getting into an argument because I actually enjoy a good argument.
Yeah. Oh, this argument was a full-rounded, fun argument. And by the way, I texted the dude this morning, and I said, sorry. Like, I texted the group. I said, sorry that – I said, thank you for last night. I'm sorry my wife got drunk and argumentative. It'll never happen again. And then he wrote back immediately, do it again tonight. And I was like, see, that's the kind of guy I like. It was like, yes. He's like, I'm not done. If you're not done, we can finish this.
Yeah, and also I'm not carrying this into the next day.
I didn't wake up with negative energy. I love this dude. So one of my best.
He didn't do what the Beatles did, where they went home and then they trashed their buddy, and then eventually they got sick of them bitching, and then they're just like, well, why don't you just quit the band? I think that's what happened. All those years of Yoko being blamed or whatever, I just think that the wives got sick of them complaining about each other.
Just quit the fucking band. Enough.
If you're this unhappy. And then one of them probably said, I think you're probably just afraid to quit it. And then they were backed into a corner. I think the only self-help book back then was How to Make Friends and Influence People or something like that. There was like one or two of them.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the tools.
My wife deals with me the same way she deals with our dog with a strange dog. You can't tell whose dog started it, right? Our dog is sitting there. You can't tell whose dog started it, but my wife disciplines our dog regardless. Hey, no. And the dog's like, the dog came up on me and growled. Like, what are you doing? I'm protecting myself. I've never been aggressive my entire fucking life. But and then all I could think was, is there ever a world where my wife gets into an argument and I don't get behind my wife and have her back? And I just go, hey, Leanne, you're raising your voice.
Oh, my God. I didn't even think of that. Oh, my God. You'd have to be they'd have to be getting really like alley cat level shit for you to step in. I don't know, my experience with them at some point, even if you were 100% in the right, you're out in front of that house, she's crying and you're saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it ends.
My wife does not have the capability to, in the moment, admit she's wrong. Like, in the moment, it is heels dug in. Not a bad thing. Nothing wrong with that. Just one of those types of people.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too. So.
Yeah, I'm actually. I can hear someone's point in an argument, and I can actually go, okay, I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. You're right.
I, for the most part, hear that voice way in the back of my head, going, Phil, don't do this. And then me is just, I said, sit down back there. And I just keep going. And I think at this point, I'm 52. I don't think I'm ever going to conquer that. So
yeah,
I think I'm just going to fucking be who I am. By the way, and I'm going to go into this in detail on my podcast tomorrow. You have to watch. There's a documentary on Netflix that you just have to watch.
What is it? I'm dying for this shit.
It's David Foster. He's this legendary,
writer,
producer.
Oh, no. You know who I'm thinking of is David Foster Wallace.
Do you know he was my teacher when I was in college?
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, and I don't read books, so I know everybody's just like, oh my God. And I go, I know.
Wait, he was your teacher?
I remember I had he taught at like Emerson for like a semester or two. And I remember I turned in a paper doing like a book report style thing. And he wrote in the column in the first paragraph, he wrote in red ink, dude, if you're doing a book report, it's probably a good idea to not spell the lead character's name wrong. And he threw an F-bomb in there. To not fucking... He still gave me like a B, though. He was cool as shit.
That's so fucking amazing, Bill. That guy's a legend.
What's fucking tragic is I haven't read any of his work.
Confederacy of Dunces is a fucking legit... I haven't read it.
Confederacy of Dunces? He didn't write that.
Yeah, didn't he?
No,
not... Wait, what did he write? What did he write, Andrew?
Confederacy of Dunces. That book's like 150 years old.
He wrote Infinite Jest. That's his probably most...
Infinite Jest? Wait, who wrote Confederacy of Dunces?
Alexander Dumas. No, I don't know.
Infinite Jest was the one I was thinking of, but I said Confederacy of Dunces.
I don't think you know who he is either.
Kennedy Toole wrote it. And yeah.
Infinite Jest. Oh, I saw the movie where Jason, what's his name, played him.
Statham?
No, Jason. Come on, Andrew. Hop on this. Help me out. I needed you last night at the party.
Bittner from Shadows Falls. Jason Bittner.
No.
What movie are you talking about?
The one about...
Infinite Jest?
No, the guy from How I Met Your Mom. 10 Things I Met Your Mom About.
Oh, Doogie Howser.
No, the other dude. The tall dude who showed his dick.
Jason Segel.
Segel, yeah.
I was Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall, okay.
Anyways,
it's not David Foster Wallace. It's just David Foster.
Oh, okay.
This documentary. Dude, this guy, this guy's ego, man, it was like if Ron Burgundy was a real person and he wasn't joking. I don't even know how to describe. It was like one of the greatest accidental comedies. Like, remember Grizzly Man? Other than the fact he gets killed by the bear, was just a guy. It was a guy who was gay, who couldn't deal with it. It was actually tragic. He should have just been able to be who he was. But just, he's sitting out there going like, but I like pussy. What, he just walking around the fucking woods?
Yeah.
It's like that, dude. And he has surrounded himself with all of these sycophants who just, you can just see it. Anybody who doesn't appease his ego is just cut out. And everybody's just going like, thank God you're writing a show on Broadway. It's time, David. What have you been waiting for? And my favorite thing was this drummer goes like, he's the greatest keyboard player I have ever heard in my life. And I've played with Herbie Hancock, dude. Okay, and then they cut to the guy, and he takes the balls out of Chicago. He removes their horn section, and then you got Peter Cetera going, I am the man who will fight for your honor. And I'm thinking, like, that's better than bow, 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 bip, bow, bow, get the fuck. Herbie Hancock play with Miles Davis. You fucking writing 80s Phil Collins music over here. Dude, you got to see this thing. And he's fucking going like, and then Barbra Streisand, she wanted an album with no drums, no bass, no guitar, just keyboards. No, just synth. And I have to admit, I killed it. And he's not joking. And then the saddest part is his kids come on, and you can tell the guy, he's a horrible dad. He's even saying I was a horrible dad. And even then, they're defending him.
Really?
Going like, he took off when I was 6 minutes old, but he did the best he could. It was... the guy's obviously super talented and all of that type of shit, but the game within the game is just watching this fucking guy. I mean, the stories he tells, it was fucking amazing. And my mom, when I was a little kid, was at the piano and she hit a chord and I said, "That's an E." And she said, "What?" And I said, "That's an E." And then she called my dad and my dad said, "My God, he has perfect pitch." And what was crazy is he has like fucking 4 or 5 sisters, and the mom would feed them porridge like a fucking like a goddamn one of those nursery rhymes, and she'd give him bacon and eggs with toast every morning. And you go back to the parents that let the kids drink and that type of shit. You see that, you go, oh, that's where it started. I mean, it's fucking just the picture alone, dude. The picture to promote it is him sitting there smiling with like fucking 400 Emmys or Grammys next to him. And he's just sitting there like, this is what I do.
Do you realize how close, like if you gave me Rogan money, right? Like sign a Spotify deal and I could seclude myself. Do you realize how quickly I could turn into that guy? Like there's certain types of people that are prone to being that guy. And then guys like you who would never be that guy. Like you would, there's a humility you have that I do not have.
Don't fucking set me up, dude.
What?
Don't set me up with that soundbite. Now that's out there in the ether. And all I got to do is one big league move. And those two things get married and it's done. I don't think you really know what you're capable of until you're in that situation, which is why all these regular people, that bit I used to do about Tiger Woods, where it's just like, dude, when was the last time you walked off the 18th hole and there was a busload of fucking hot chicks waiting to bang you and you walked past them to your Chevy Cavalier to go home to your fucking wife? You do that after every fucking golf match, then you can judge that guy.
I'm only this has got to be someone's bit, but I'm only as good as my options.
That's Chris Rock.
Is it?
How that works, and that's literally word for word.
For real?
I think it's a man is as faithful as his options.
Yeah, I mean, but I think I've proved faithfulness in that my options have increased since I married my wife, and I have turned down options. I've turned down hot chicks that have been like, we had a chick sneak on our bus one time and was in the bus.
Wait. How does that happen?
Yeah, tell me about it. Someone didn't lock the door. She got on the bus and she was hiding under the table. And we walked in and we were like, what the like, we definitely see you. She was wasted, hot. She was like, let's just hang out. And we have a rule, no chicks on the bus.
You know how fucking scared I would be?
Oh.
I'd be terrified. What if she just starts yelling rape?
Yeah, that's why we have a rule, no chicks on the bus.
Get the fuck out of here.
No chicks on the bus, ever. Never. So
at this point, a chick who never even went on your bus could just say she went on your bus and something happened, and that would be the end of you. I mean, that's kind of the way it's working out now. Now it's like, I mean, I don't understand. I don't want to get into that shit because I don't want to have people's shit. Because you know what fucking does amaze me though is the people that were not there, which is most people commenting. I would say it was everybody, and like fellow comics. It's like you weren't there, you don't know what happened. Somebody said something happened, the other person said it didn't happen, and then what I love is it always starts off with the accusation, and then it slowly gets into, oh, you don't like his act.
Yeah, you were never a fan of his. In the first place.
Yeah, that was my favorite one I saw this week where someone, started off with the accusation and then ended it with the criticism of the person's act. And it's just like, wow, man. Like that has got to be, it's like there's literally somebody's dream is at stake here. If you don't have pertinent information on this, shut the fuck up. Why are you chiming in, throwing gas on a fire that you don't even know? I mean, it could have happened. It could not have happened. It's just like, I don't know. And this whole thing done in this guise of like that you're making things better. That one side can't defend themselves, the other side can now say whatever they want. It's taken as law, and your dream is over. I mean, that formula, there is no fucking way you're not going to start taking out people that are actually innocent. I mean, you're kind of creating, I mean, it's basically why there's a judicial system.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that, then just anybody can say anything about anybody to destroy them. And the internet, people have to respect the fact that there's no libel, there's no slander, there's nothing. So you have this ridiculous level of power. And with power comes responsibility, and you should handle that responsibly. I don't think that you should get out your bitterness as a comic towards another comic or your petty shit with them. And having said that, I don't know what's true. I don't know what's true. That's why I would never fucking jump in and say anything.
Yeah, that's my thing is I did a podcast with someone. They asked me about a guy who's been accused of stuff. And I'm only keeping people's names out of respect for all of it because I don't know anything. And I said,
yeah, you have to respect everybody involved because
everybody
be victims involved. Or on either side, there could be a victim here, and you don't want to tip it one way or another unless you have, this smoking gun kind of thing.
Unless you have some insight that other people don't. And I said to the person, and I'm gonna edit this out of my podcast because it.
But then talk about it on this one.
Yeah, no, because I can represent it better on this one than I did.
Right.
But what I said was, yeah, I actually don't know anything about that, and all I can say is the guy's always been nice to me. He's always been a sweet guy. I don't know him to see that as that. That's all my experience, and it was a little.
And just because he's only been nice to you doesn't mean that something didn't happen. But you don't know.
I don't know. And so it would be disingenuous of me to just immediately hear any accusation on anyone and just go, that's it. Fuck this guy forever. Fuck him. And then I don't know. And by the way, I don't know. I just don't know. And so I'm sitting here in my house, in my glass castle, just kind of taking in information. Leanne said this to me, Bill. This is what's crazy. Leanne said, when everything comes out about all our friends, all the people that we don't need to say any names, but everyone knows where we're, she said, hypothetically speaking, how would you behave if someone accused you of something you actually didn't do? And my instinct, Bill, was I go, have you seen The Fugitive? Because I would be Harrison Ford. I would lose my fucking mind and I would be jumping off waterfalls. Yeah,
but you'd also be locked in with your people, and then they would be giving you advice, and you would painstakingly have to craft a statement. Yes. You get sucked into that.
So what I did, so we as an exercise, I said what I would do. I went through all the stuff I would do. And the number one thing the first thing I was going to do is I was suing everyone for libel, right? And so she goes, well, call your dad. My dad's a lawyer. She goes, call your dad. Ask him if that's sound advice. So I said, Dad, I tell him a scenario. I said, if that happened to me, first thing I do is I sue everyone for libel. He goes, first of all, no, that trial's not going to happen for 2 years. And just so you know, they will dig up everything you've ever fucking done. And that is and you will not win. And if you win, you won't get any money. And it doesn't do any good. And by the way, my dad starts spinning out. And he's like, did something fucking happen? And I go, no, we're just doing a hypothetical. He goes, what you do is you remain quiet and hope it goes away. And I went, are you serious? And he's like, I
know. And that's what's giving that type of thing. There's a tremendous amount of power when you can just say, you can say these things, true or not. And I'm not saying that anybody has said anything false, but it's just like that door is wide open to just say, this shit with a certain talk show host and just the wild shit that people say. There's no way you didn't know every last fucking thing that's going on in a show. Give me a fucking break. There's a zillion people there. I do a show. I don't know every last fucking thing that's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what people say, and then you condoned it, and then the snowball thing starts going.
I've actually defended that person. I've defended that person maybe wrongfully, but I have only because I know her history and I know what she's had to go through and put up with to get to where she is, and I don't think she would knowingly condone out. I just don't think it's that person, and I think it is the people around her. And I think it's maybe a little bit of I don't know. I think there's a lot to it.
It's also the perception. The perception, whoever brings up the accusation, their perception is what was going on. So if somebody, every place I ever worked with, there was always somebody that was being inappropriate, jokes being inappropriate or whatever, but it was like, that's the inappropriate person. But, you know, there's a difference between the person saying wild shit. Back in the day there was, and taking your dick out at work. But now those two things have become the same thing. And then it's also become like, you know, if this person said that happened, then it happened and you're done.
It's crazy. It's crazy. There've got to be a lot of people. I know of a talk show where the host was very toxic and everyone hated it, and everyone has since come out and said how much they hated it. And who wants to, like, that? I don't understand that concept of having a workplace like that at all. If you're lucky enough to have a TV show, you should make everyone feel like, how great is it that we get to come to work today? You know, well, I believe. I think
the pressure of it, the pressure of having the show and whatever your issues are get heightened. The higher up you go and the more that's at stake, the crazier, you know, if you're wired a certain way, you're going to behave. And I think it's cartoonish sometimes to just turn people into, you were mean because you like being mean. You're just a mean, it's like, you know, when people from this country go and they travel to a poorer country and they come back, their takeaway is, man, that place is a shithole. As opposed to like, why is it that way? How did it end up that way? We're all connected. How does this thing work? How does the world economy work? You know, I just think, you know, the way people go at, you know, 1 + 1 is 2. 1 + 1 is 2. They're just going right down the thing. This happened. This person said that. Boom. This is this. This is that. I mean, and I don't see how that, how you come out of this thing unless, I don't even know how you come out of it. How you ever even go back to some sort of rational, like the best system we could come up with, which, you know, to argue the other side was not working for
a lot of women.
For women, yeah. So it wasn't working. So, but I don't think the solution is then to go all the way to the other side and just be like, hey, anybody says anything, and then you act like there's no, that human beings aren't flawed. There's no jealousy. There's no vindictiveness. There's none of that. All of those ugly sides of people that cause people to say stuff. I mean, comedians who hate other comedians act. I mean, so much of that is what's going on with you and not the other fucking person. You know what I mean? But if you apply that to what this thing is, it's a very dangerous thing.
It is very crazy, and what's crazy is that I'm, because I have 2 girls and my wife was sexually assaulted in college. She's talked about that. I'm not sharing anything, but what's that?
When did you meet her? I think I'm going to cancel you on this fucking thing right now.
I love when you do those. I had to go there with a joke.
You lobbed it over the net.
But I tend to believe that anyone that speaks up isn't doing it to just get famous, because I've been around dudes. I've never known a dude. That's the other part, is that I said to my wife last night, we were talking about it the other day, and I said, I've never once known it, like no dude has ever once, and I've hung around bros my whole life, has even told me a story that sounded like rape. Like, even a story that sounded like...
Because once again, you're dealing with their perception of it. People are fucking nuts. Okay, but we're living in a world right now where they're saying only one side is nuts. And it's like, no, everybody's fucking nuts. And that's why you have the judicial system and all of that shit. But I don't know. But then again, it doesn't work for a certain segment of the population. So that's not fair. I mean, so what do you do? I don't know. It's fucking nuts, man. It is a quagmire.
Do you know how many I say alt comics, but I don't mean alt comics, but like do you know how many types of comedians, Bill, would be so jealous that you had David Foster Wallace as a teacher, that that possibly his teaching created the man you are today. The artist you are today was was nurtured by David Foster Wallace?
I took a class. We had I do remember. I don't want to tell that story. I can't do that.
Here. Let me let you think about your story. I'll tell a story about a great English teacher, and then you think about your story. This teacher.
He's not around anymore. I'm not telling the story. It's not fair.
Why? What? Yeah, but
because the fucking internet is so fucking toxic.
Oh, okay.
And they do the Fox News CNN thing where they just take clips of what you say and then they'll try to make it act like I was being disrespectful to the guy, which I don't want to do.
We had a teacher. I was an English major and creative writing, and we had a teacher come in first day of class on a Monday. His name was McNamara, I think, and he walked in, no shirt on, shirt over his shoulder, backpack like a army surplus backpack, motorcycle helmet. Walks in 10 minutes late, and he goes, Mondays aren't good for me, so let's just do Thursday, Friday. Cool? And we're like, yeah. And he's all right, and he starts to walk away, and someone's like, what are we supposed to do? And he goes, oh, live life and write about it, and just walks out, right? So this guy was the greatest teacher. I pulled him aside and I said, I don't really.
He's a complete ass. He's a fucking adult, and he wanted your approval more than he actually wanted to teach you. Or he's fucking lazy.
So I said to him, so I remember sitting next to him.
How is he any different than the parent down the street that says it's cool to drink?
This gets better. So this guy, everyone just wrote about their life and the experience they had. I was sitting in next to him in class one time, shirt unbuttoned, motorcycle next to him, the helmet next to him. And this girl tells
Did he have a fan blowing his hair?
He had long hair. He was a really good-looking guy. Really good-looking guy.
All right, I don't get mad at that. Good for him.
And so a girl, one of the hottest girls in the room, but like Converse sneakers with no socks hot. You know what I mean? Like just like a good-looking girl, really attractive, but just not in the sorority system, does her own thing, pays her way through college, like real fucking like kind of girl that knows how to pack bong hits with her thumb and doesn't worry about it, you know? So she reads a story about working.
I met this girl. This sounds like a movie.
She writes a story
Wait
about
a minute. When you took her glasses off and she undid her ponytail, did you then see how beautiful she was? Yeah. What the fuck are you talking about?
She just went like this with her hair and just. So
There she is.
She reads a story. I'm sitting next to this dude, and she reads a story about her working at this restaurant called The Mill, and one of the guys who worked in the kitchen walking in on her in the freezer and them fucking in the freezer, and it's all about her getting fucked in the freezer, and it was like the hottest, sexiest story. And this teacher is, by the way, I thought he was an adult. He's probably like 25 at the time, 27, is just punching me in the leg like, oh, can you believe this? Can you believe this, right? So I tell him after that, I go, hey, I'm not doing this class right. Like, what do I do? How do I? And he says to me, he goes, this weekend, I want you to get a tape recorder and record everything that you're going through and just record, like kind of log it. And then on Sunday night, just write all that down. It doesn't need to be perfect. Just write down everything you said or like surmise it and then submit it. So I do that, record all weekend. I write it all down Sunday night. Wednesday shows up, we go to class, and there's a different teacher in class. And I was like, Pat, I forget her name. Pat was her name. She was quoted in my Rolling Stone article about me, about what kind of student I was, because it was during this time. And I said, where's Mr. McNamara? And she goes, he died this weekend. And I was like, what? She goes, yeah. He was doing cocaine on his motorcycle, going about 120 miles an hour, and he had a heart attack and died. And I was like,
she said that to you guys?
Yeah.
Did she have an axe to grind with this guy?
No, she was
you couldn't
really
just say he had a heart attack on the motorcycle? Wait a minute. How do you do blow on a motorcycle going 120 miles an hour? You must have the windscreen.
No, he wasn't doing it on the motorcycle like.
All right, well, that's kind of the way you said. I'm sorry.
And by the way, I'm not really certain that's how he died.
That was the picture you painted.
I might have painted the picture in my head that he was doing cocaine, had a heart attack. Maybe he just got into a motorcycle accident. But
check your facts, or just post it onto Twitter because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever. And so, but I remember that teacher so well. What was that, Pat? What was it? I've reached out to her since. All the people in the English department hated my guts because I signed a book deal out of college. And she was one of the ones that didn't. She didn't hate me.
Oh, she didn't hate you.
She was cool as fuck. She was really.
So what did she think when you submitted your assignment?
We didn't really do any more learning in that class. Like
she just came in matter of factly. Yeah, your teacher's dead. He was blowing a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Doing 120 miles an hour and had a heart attack. I'm going to be your teacher now. There was no. What is wrong with Florida, Bert?
What's her name? Pat. I want to say Mac. It's not McAfee. It's like McVeigh or something. If you type in, Andrew, Bert Kreischer, Rolling Stone article, Pat, English teacher, it'll come up, I bet. I want to give her a shout out. She was a really cool person. I wonder if she's still alive. Isn't it crazy that you think that those teachers you had in college were like 50 years old and they were just 27-year-olds?
Yeah. The coolest teacher I had in college, he was a lawyer. And he drove a Porsche and he was married, had like 4 kids. And one of the stories he told was that he drove fast. And he just decided, I'm just going to play high insurance because I like driving fast. And he was like his own man. This was like early 90s when I was in college. And I don't know, it's just something about him that I liked. I can't remember the class he taught. You could tell he was good at being a lawyer. It's like just the way he talks, like I would hire this guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't a creep. I had a lot of teachers that were creeps. You know what I mean? They'd only call on the hot chicks or the jocks and shit like that. I had a lot of those, but this guy was just like, he really came at people like matter of factly. And he took a vacation. I remember went to Cancun. He came back. He looked fucking great. I was like, this guy's just living the life. He's taking time out to teach this class. He doesn't need to teach this class. He's a lawyer. He's got a Porsche. He can go to Cancun. And he's taking the time. And I got so much out of that guy. I was like, this guy's just kind of doing what the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah.
And nobody's getting hurt, though. Nobody's getting hurt. It's not a toxic thing.
You know what did you find her name? What is it?
Pat McNulty.
Pat McNulty. She was I bet she's got books. Can you pull up one of her books? I bet she's written a book. Let's promote it. Someone buy Pat McNulty. She was a fucking awesome teacher. Man, you get so few great teachers. You get so many, you're right, so many just regular people. Regular people. I want to thank our sponsor, Bud Light Seltzer. I was out in Lake Havasu last week. Was it, Bill?
I think so.
So I go to get the boat. I send my wife in to get booze, right? She comes back with Bud Light Seltzer. And at first I thought, I just want to do beer, like a beer. But all of a sudden, we get out to the sandbar. She starts driving the boat. I start drinking. And these Bud Light Seltzers were so freaking enjoyable. And you know what I loved about it, Bill? None of the guilt of the big belly with the beer, right? 100 calories, less than a gram of sugar. They are phenomenal.
I love once I quit drinking, all of a sudden they come out with all this alcohol that still gets you, feeling good, but you don't put on any weight.
Oh,
it's going to make me come back, Bert. It's going to make me come back.
Black cherry. So what I would do is we had it in ice. I had a couple out of the can, and then I poured 2 into a big glass with ice in it. Bill, it was so refreshing. Black cherry is so amazing.
On the lake singing, whoa, black cherry, bam-a-lam, whoa, black cherry.
Quality taste, clean finish. I mean, amazing. If you're looking for a drink, I'm telling you right now, the Bud Light Seltzer is undeniable. An approachable brand with a wide, hard seltzer category. And
I would kill to be on a lake right now watching you drink one of those things.
It is unquestionably good, Bill. Bro, I actually told Leanne I think I perfected day drinking because I would have 4 of those and I'd be set for the day. Come home, set up the grill, crack another one. I did kettlebell squats with them because I felt like I wasn't gaining any weight. I felt like I was being healthy. I brought my kettlebell with us.
What's most about having a beer while grilling.
Oh.
It took so long. It was like a phantom limb to not have that,
I've been having a hard time with beer lately. I think the taste is like when we were on tour, I was doing IPAs. Now that I'm home and I don't have to worry about coronavirus and losing my taste buds, I've just been enjoying these Bud Light Seltzers. They're so good. So good.
I remember drinking about 9 presidents ago. That's what it feels like, dude. I'm 21 months in.
21 months.
You know what I feel like what alcohol is going to do? Alcohol is going to do what weed did. Where weed, I think alcohol is like what Bud Light's doing here is smart because weed, there's all these different,
Yeah.
It's nice that they finally came around to the drinkers. At least Bud Light did, right?
It's nice when you see a brand and it shocks you into going, whoa, what's that? I got to try that. Like, I saw it in the store. I was with George and my oldest, and I'm walking through the store, and I saw it, and I went, whoa. And I didn't buy it then. And when Leanne put it on the boat, I was like, nice. I get to try something new.
Black cherry.
That's just the one Leanne bought. I think they've got black cherry, lemon lime, mango, strawberry, and they're all amazing. They're all amazing.
Black cherry, bam-ba-lam, whoa, black cherry.
If you'd like to get it delivered right to your door, you can find a retailer near you at budlight.com/delivery, or you can pick it up at a local neighborhood grocer, convenience store, or liquor store. Thank you so much to our sponsor.
All right, I got to be the sober guy here. You must include the following legal disclaimer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Maybe if I enjoyed responsibly, I would have been on that boat drinking a whoa black cherry with you. All right, let's talk about shaving your balls. All right, Manscaped, everyone. You know, Bert, 2020 has been the year of things happening that are completely out of your control.
You don't have to tell me that, Bill.
Hey, we're all living, you know what? We're all in this together. But there is one thing that you can't control, and that's shaving your bush. Our sponsors at Manscaped are here to remind you to do so. It'll really help you move. That's why I shaved off my beard.
Yeah.
The bush on my face. Ask your co-host, okay, hey, Bert, when was the last time you shaved your balls?
We have this conversation so often. You'll text me, you go, hey, have you shaved your balls yet? And I'll go, not yet, getting on it. I shave my balls and I shave my underarms, Bill. And what I love about their Manscaped Mower 3.0 is it does not nick or catch any of your skin, which is so important.
You know what? I like to keep a nice George Michael 5 o'clock shadow on my balls personally. You know, makes me seem like I'm a crooner. The Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0 is a premium electric trimmer that's designed to give you a confidence boost through your body image. Their ceramic blade and skin-safe technology are designed to reduce nicks or tugs. What's worse, Bert, a nick or a tug? I think the tug.
Getting a tug because it catches you and you're stuck and you're like, oh, how are we getting out of this? I'd rather just get nicked and get it over with.
No, but nick hangs around later if you put the aftershave on your nuts. The Lawnmower 3.0 is also waterproof and comes with an LED light, so you can manscape in the shower, in the dark, or in a dark shower, whatever floats your boat. They've also just released their Shears 2.0 nail kit, which is perfect, the perfect add-on to their Lawnmower 3.0 trimmer. The Shears 2.0 is a luxury 4-piece nail kit featuring tempered stainless steel tools, and it includes tipped tweezers, rounded point scissors, fingernail clippers, and a medium grit nail file.
It is
Shears
perfect,
2.0.
Bill. You throw one in your bag and you have you ever been sitting on the road and you're like, God, I got to clip my nails. But you're like, where am I going to nail clipper? This thing really is. They are great nail clippers.
And I have like 58 of the old school ones. There's that weird matrix thing where you twist it around too many times and all of a sudden it comes apart. And then you need to call a real man to get it back together. On their website, you'll also find the Crop Preserver, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. This will help you tame that summer swamp ass with natural hydrators and antioxidants. You'll also find the Crop Reviver, a testy toner that's like having cologne that is designed for your balls. We won't judge you if we catch you sniffing yourself. Go to manscaped.com and check some of these life-changing products. Check out some of these life-changing products. In fact, listeners of this show will get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BILLBERT, BILLBERT, at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code BILLBERT. It's time to grab 2020 by the horns by shaving that front trunk.
I want to ask you about something that I feel like this is what Andrew and I were talking about when we first started. I feel like is the next wave. Do you remember in like when you
I know what the next wave is.
What's that?
Everybody's been worried about monkeys, right? monkeys are going to do this. They're going to figure out how to fucking drive a car and do all of this shit. And then they're going to take over society, Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, hiding in plain sight are bears. Okay. I saw a bear on the internet this week. I saw a bear open a car door like this. Never seen a monkey do that. I saw one kick open the door to a fucking house like the feds, like when they had that fucking battering ram. I mean, this thing blew off the fucking hinges, and this guy came in like he was working. He did everything but flash a fucking FBI badge. All right? And then I saw these bears at the zoo. They'd stand up on their hind legs like people, and as the little zoo bus drove by with the people with the food, they'd stand up and wave, like frantically, like slumber party. Oh, my God. Waving like that.
Yeah.
Dude, it was a trifecta of human ability that I have not seen. I have not seen any fucking monkeys do that shit. Although it was a gorilla that could sign language. Do the sign language thing. But I'm telling you, people are sleeping on fucking bears. They're the ones. I want to see Planet of the Apes with bears.
In Russia, we saw a bear roller skating. And
They ride bikes. They can do everything a fucking monkey can do.
I said to my teacher, when we were watching the bear roller skate, I said, I wonder how they teach a bear to roller skate. And she said, with a lot of electricity.
I know, it's brutal.
It's fun. They were getting them, Bill, on a balance beam and almost like it was a slack line and throwing in the air and catching them. Like bears were on a balancing beam.
They were somebody threw a bear in the air and caught it.
I might mash up a Super Bowl performance with what I saw. But
I was going to say, I know Russian guys are strong, but let's not get crazy. So that's my prediction.
Bears.
I'm talking within the end of this century, which we're not going to be here. I'm talking a bear with whatever Bluetooth looks like going down the road in one of your old rides. I think that's where they go.
Shaving off all the hair except this hair right here so they look like they fit in?
No.
Just going forward?
No, they're shaming us. They're shaming us now. Now we're in there's going to be like I don't think it'll happen that fast. In the next 500 years. I think with viruses and just wiping out the planet, I think that they come up.
What do you think? I was talking to Andrew about this, and I was saying, do you remember the stereotypical fat cat during the Great Depression? You know, like the Monopoly guy, just, hey, monocle and cigar. And
I thought you meant like an alley cat. I was just picturing one in the cartoons where they'd have the fish skeleton and they're licking their paws. You know, All right, I get what you're saying. Some rich guy.
Yeah, but that stereotype of the guy who's out of touch with like Hoovervilles and economic depression, I feel like we're coming up on that. Like I feel like how are you comfortable spending money?
What, like right now?
You're not the guy that shows up at the Comedy Store with the flashiest car at all. Like you have a nice car, but
Bert, you're saying I have no style?
No. But like, is there a part of you? I'm looking to buy a car, and I thought, with what's going on in the world today, it just doesn't make sense to spend a lot of money on a car.
Eddie Pepitone has a fucking joke about that. I just read it and I was dying laughing.
What was it?
I'm not going to do it justice. You know, it's on my Instagram stories. I put it up yesterday. I just read it and I was just like, he's so fucking funny and has a new special
really
up. Eddie Pepitone's amazing. As far as spending money, like I've never gotten to. It's weird. I can spend money on other people. I got the Catholic guilt thing, but like I don't like. If I do spend money on myself, I definitely get something nice. If I'm gonna do it, you know what I mean. Like if I'm gonna do it, I do it, but I don't do it a lot. I'm not into owning shit. And especially once I cleaned up my friggin' office here, just all of the fucking shit over the years that I have gotten. And like, you know, it's just like, what what do I do with all of this stuff now? Now I just keep it in boxes because I can't throw it out because it means something to me.
Oh, that's me. That's me with T-shirts. I have so many T-shirts that mean something to me.
Dude, you just got to get into your reptilian brain where you don't feel anything, and you just got to throw them in that garbage bag, tie it off, and you just leave it there. And after a while, you forget what's in there, and then you take that fucking thing, and you go buy Skid Row, and you just set the bag down, and they're going to use it. You know, all kinds of T-shirts and stuff like that. Yeah, I did that. I did that with a bunch of old Red Sox jerseys and shit that I had from back 2004, like a Nomar, a Manny Ramirez, Big Poppy shit. It's like, I'm not wearing this stuff. And plus, I think it's funny, you know, homeless guys walking around with Boston sports gear. You know what I mean? Let's have Celtic shit instead of Lakers stuff. Make me feel more like I'm at home.
What I feel like I was looking at cars yesterday, and I feel like if I spent money on a car, that's when the hammer drops. That's when bad shit happens to me. The second I do something nice for myself, that's when bad shit happens.
No, I have a nice car. I went out and I bought a nice car, and I got the nice rims. I ordered the fucking thing. I got the color I wanted, did all, like, if I'm going to do it, I do it. I'm 52 years old, and I think I've owned 5 cars in my life. Like, I'm going to drive that fucking thing until.
Did you buy it outright?
Yeah. Just
bought it.
Yep, I just buy it outright. That's it, done. And then I just drive it. I mean, that's the second new car I've ever bought. Like the first new car, I bought a Prius. I drove it for 10 years.
You still drive that Prius?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. We went to the football game in the Prius.
Oh, yeah, no, but I've since gotten rid of it. Yeah, but I drove that car forever, and I loved that car, and I didn't give a shit. Everybody, you know, all the stupid gay bashing crap that would happen with that car. It was actually a really interesting car to own because no matter how bad the gas prices got back then, it was always under $40. And when they would go down, there was days I would fill that car, it'd be like $23. And the shit I would get for driving that car never quite ended, but when gas prices were low, the homophobia was high on driving the car. But when gas prices went up, the homophobia came down, and all of a sudden people be coming up to you, yeah, how much does it cost to fill that thing? You like that car? Can you handle it? It's all right. And I would just laugh and, you know, be like, dude, you were shitting on this car fucking 3 months ago.
Yeah.
A Prius is literally like that friend you have that's just there for you and never wants anything. Shows up to the party, always brings stuff, helps you fucking clean up. Doesn't dump their day on you. It's a fucking great car. I wish I could find
something like that for Georgia. We got to buy Georgia a car, and I'm having issues with. She doesn't want too nice of a car because she doesn't want to look like a rich kid. But I don't want a piece of shit in my driveway that'll be the last car out, and I got to drive around in. Cause you know, does that make sense? Like I don't want to have to drive some bullshit car.
Dude, she's not going to look like a rich person. I mean, look what happened to BMW. I mean, a 16-year-old can afford a lease on one of those things.
That's what I told her. Oh, Bill, that's what I told her. We have one where our lease is up. And I said, why don't I just buy it outright and give it to you? She goes, I don't want to look like a rich kid. And I go, baby, this is a used car. This is affordable. This is what you would be able to drive. And she's like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to look like a rich kid. I want to look like a regular kid. Like I want to beat her. And I went,
for what reason?
What?
For what reason?
Just, I think self-consciousness. I think being a kid in Hollywood or in LA is, I bet there's a rat race I don't know about celebrity parents or wealth or money. And Georgia's not that kid. She is very like, she has never asked for anything in her life. Like she's not a kid.
Oh my God, dude. Georgia's your daughter.
Yeah.
I thought that was your wife's name.
No.
That's why I made that joke last week going, oh God, Vermont. I never would have said that about your daughter. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, dude. I can't believe you let me get away with that.
I didn't understand what you were saying.
I was stopping you. I said that's his wife's name, but I couldn't, like, the audio didn't go over. And then I asked and nobody said it.
My God, dude. I am so sorry.
I didn't even catch it.
I'm going to send you a gift basket of IPAs, dude. I'm really sorry about that.
I'm drinking IPAs right now.
I get your kid. No, I totally get that because you're
Like, were you that
Our
kid when
friends
you turned
probably-
16 and your dad was like, Bill, let me get you a BMW? Would you have been like, Dad, that's not me? Or would you have been like, fucking, let's do this?
I probably would have said I had no confidence. I didn't need that attention. Then hot chicks would have liked me, and I would have imploded. I would have totally imploded.
Interesting.
Dude, if you drive a cool car like with no confidence, I mean, it's fucking hilarious.
I wanted a Sirocco so bad.
I love that car.
That was the baddest fucking car, man.
Dude, I know there was this cool kid in my grade had one a few years after. I remember he had the CD player, the external CD player,
Yeah.
because they didn't have one yet. It was insane that he plugged in, and that was a big thing. Don't go over bumps so the CD would skip. And I just remember looking at that car being like, oh, my God, that fucking thing is amazing.
Volkswagen owned cool car. Like, the Jetta was a cool car. The Sirocco was a cool car. Like, and they were affordable. I got a Fox when I was 16, brand new.
My buddy had one of those.
Like $9,000. My dad was like paying like $150 a month. And I remember I wanted a Sirocco. He's like, buddy, they're $16,000. No one's affording that. Like, I can get you, trust me, for half the money, I get you a Fox.
So you got a new car. So that's why you're sitting there going like, well, my dad. So then get her the equivalent of a Fox.
It doesn't exist right now. Like,
yeah, it does.
No, meaning like anything like Honda Accords are fucking like $50,000. I don't know.
Yeah, but Accord is their higher model than the Civic. You don't necessarily go to Honda. I'm sure you get a Kia.
But then I start saying,
Andrew,
I want her to be
Google the cheapest new cars.
I want to get her something
Please.
big so that if she gets in an accident, she's safe. So
It takes everybody else out. I like the way you think. No witnesses.
No witness. So I part of me is like, I told her, I said, let me get you like an expedition or an Explorer or something big, like, so that we have it. Because I also am going to end up driving this, and I don't want to get in a car where I'm like uncomfortable.
Dude, as much as people shit on smart cars, when was the last time you heard about somebody getting killed in one? Cars are really fucking safe. I'm not saying get a smart car, although I love that car. I fucking love that. That car is the car when you were a little kid you wish you had. Like, it's literally a go-kart that can go like 80 miles an hour.
Oh, those little tiny ones?
Yeah, so for what it does, as long as you don't get hit in that car is the shit. That car is the fucking shit. Like, I would like to take one of those things and redo it and put like the fastest engine, or maybe just make it electric. Then you got this fucking thing that the only thing easier to find a parking with is a motorcycle.
Ooh, I
would just be worried if you made that thing electric that it would literally just like tip over when you stepped on the gas when your head hits the back of the window. No,
what cars did you come up with, Andrew?
All right, we got. I'm going to list them. 2020 Chevrolet Spark LS is $15,000. The 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage ES is $16,400. The 2020 Kia Rio LX is $16,800.
Kia? Hang on, Kia.
Hyundai Accent.
Is it? Who makes the Genesis?
Hyundai.
Man, that is a beautiful fucking car. Have you seen that, Bill?
At this point, yeah.
The Hyundai Genesis is a gorgeous fucking car. Gorgeous. It is like, I would argue it's nicer than a Mercedes, nicer than a BMW, and very affordable.
I almost feel like you cut some backdoor deal with them on the podcast.
No.
Where you just signed off on that. I'll tell you what I saw that really I loved the other day. I saw this. It was a Ford F600, 1978.
All right. Let's go there.
Flathead, dual wheels. I think when I was a little kid, I don't think I ever got over Tonka trucks. I'm more of I'm a truck motorcycle guy. I love motorcycles. I'm too afraid. I ride scared. I can't do it.
So wait, what truck? If you had to buy her a new truck, what truck that is new that you see out there that you like? Because she wants a pickup truck. She wants a pickup truck or a minivan.
Oh, dude, you know what I would do? I would buy a used Dodge Hemi, the 2-door short bed. There's one for sale right now. I just saw it up in Fresno, a blue one. That truck is the shit. It's got a Hemi. It fucking flies. I mean, I'm a Ford guy. The front end on that, because Dodge fucked their front ends up.
Hang on. I don't know what's happening. Hang on. Something happened. Sorry, did you hear that?
I heard a little bit of something.
Dodge Hemi.
Dodge, I think it's a 1500 Hemi. You want the short bed, no extra cab, none of that shit. It's just it's the old school regular cab with the short bed. It's one of the best looking fucking trucks in modern time.
She wants a pickup truck or a minivan are her two options. I'm like, both my kids want vans. Isla wants a white van with no windows, and Georgia wants a minivan.
All right, I would get her an old Ford. Those what the fuck were those things called? Those the mid-60s Ecoliner.
Oh yeah.
Those things are so fucking cool.
Yeah,
they're so fucking cool. You put some Kreger rims on that thing.
Yeah, I told Isla, I said, if you want, I'll get you a van, but I'm gonna pimp it out. Like I want to flood. I want it to be like 6 captain's chairs in it, like just really cash. She's like, Dad, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Georgia wants to be sensible.
Custom vans from like the 70s and 80s. They fucking totally did those things up.
Yeah.
Do they make vans anymore?
Minivans. Minivans are actually amazing fucking cars. They are amazing. Like, and we used to always get a minivan when we did production. You'd always get a minivan, and they're fucking great. Like, it might be like the perfect car. It's super comfortable. Everyone's comfortable. You can fall asleep in them. They've like 2 captain's chairs in the back, a bench in the back.
I would question the bench. I think there's 4 people that are comfortable. If you're number 5 or more in the back, I don't know that it's that comfortable. Unless you're the only person in the back, you get to lay down.
Yeah.
I remember we tried to talk my dad into buying a van in the 70s. We would always go to the car show. And this is when they were just pimping these fucking things out. And I remember we went inside this van, right? And it had all of these captain's chairs with cup holders, and they swiveled. And all we were saying, all the kids in the family were just like, Dad, you got to get this thing. And it had like wood grain and all of this shit that they put. It was so fucking cool. But instead, we got a Caprice Classic station wagon. It was cool. It had a small V8 in it. It had the fake wood paneling. It was maroon with the fake. It was like an 83. But it had the wire rims. Like they definitely, it was the one time they really spent money. But they like the old school station wagon.
Wait,
Like
Tell me what it was. I want to see what pictures. My mom had station wagons growing up. Capri?
1983 Caprice Classic station wagon. It was maroon with wood siding. Faux wood, I think. I'm looking it up. Caprice.
Oh,
Classic.
Wow, Bill.
Yeah, that thing was sick.
Oh, man, I would love a dragon wagon.
What's a dragon wagon?
That's what we used to call them, a dragon wagon. My mom had the Ford Country Squire.
Oh, that was it right there. So before it became like a big bubble. Oh, yeah, man. I'll tell you, that car there, the Caprice Classic 4-door, is a fucking man's car. 1983 Caprice Classic 4-door. That is a fucking man's car. I had a buddy of mine who was a fucking man. He would fight anybody. He had a sky blue one. I loved that car.
Dude.
Once they became all rounded off, unless they were like a sports car, my love for cars is really, back in the day.
My mom had a white wood-grained Ford Country Squire. And she must have had 3 different ones on leases, I'm sure. But and I remember getting that and driving that my freshman. We had that when I was a sophomore in high school, and we would drive in that, and dudes would just get wasted in the back, and you just drive around. And oh man.
Oh yeah, I went to an AC/DC concert in a station wagon. It was tremendous. It's fucking tremendous. I had
what happened to the station wagon, Bill?
What happened to the station wagon? The minivan.
Is it the minivan or is it the SUV?
SUV, maybe. Yeah, SUV, minivans, and all of that type of stuff. And I remember when the height of the SUV thing in the late 90s, living out here in LA, I remember thinking, I just want to get a truck so I can see over the fucking truck in front of me. I just hated being behind that wall. and because I needed to see the traffic was moving. And I remember at some point, I don't know, something was wrong with my car, so I rented an SUV, and I got in traffic, and I got stuck behind an SUV, and I still couldn't see behind it because it was still so big. And I was just like, all right, this is stupid. That was like when everybody, and that's when it was just like the excursion, the explorer, conqueror of lands unknown. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
The first time I got into an excursion, I sat in it and I was like, shut the fuck up. I was dating a girl whose dad had an excursion, and I got in the excursion and I was like moving from side to side, like, you can run in here. This is amazing.
I knew a comic that had a Lexus SUV in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I don't know why, but like all the American ones, they were big lumbering V8 or whatever. I don't know what the Japanese did with this fucking thing. This thing hauled ass, and it was huge. It was incredible. I couldn't believe, like, we were still coming out of that era. Like, I'm old enough to remember when speedometers only went up to 80 during that awful period. And the car was designed to break down at 60,000 miles, which from what I heard is what BMW did. They kind of did that to and they fucked with their brand a little bit, but now they're back. They had a bad period where they were doing shit like that. But but all the Japanese cars, like my buddy had a Honda Accord and it went up to 120. And I was like, can this car do 120? He just stepped on the gas. I remember doing like 85, 90. I'm like, dude, slow down because there was too much traffic. But the car didn't shake at all. It was really like one of the biggest fuck-ups in America as far as like when we used to make great cars, and when they did that 20-year period where they fucked over their own countrymen, and the Japanese kept making cars, that would last, and then they also would go up to like, I mean, when I was in the 80s, the Toyotas were the shit. Other than that, they rusted out. If you lived up on the East Coast, because I loved their pickup trucks. I even liked the base model that came with the white rims because it was 4-wheel drive. I liked that blue one that had the white rims on it. Dude, I swear to God, man, if I was, single and still working as a comic, like those are the kinds of things that I would buy.
Wait,
I wouldn't buy.
Go through and list every car you've owned. Can you?
What's great about the cars that I like is I don't like a fucking Shelby GT 500 Mustang, the bullet car that every fucking baby boomer wants to buy, so they're $1 million. I like weird shit.
Yeah.
78 Ford F600. I'd have one of those. I'd have a GMC, from Stripes, that motorhome. I'd have that, the green, the lime green. I'd have it in that. 67 Cadillac Eldorado.
67 Cadillac Eldorado. I want a 72 Cadillac convertible Eldorado.
What year?
72 is
okay. I got
red, white interior. There's one I've been stalking.
Do you know what I saw the other day that I loved? I saw a late 70s Z28. It's like the Smokey and the Bandit car style, not the what is it called? The F body or whatever, the one from the 80s. I love those things. I love those early 80s. I love an Oldsmobile Cutlass. 2-door coupe with the fucking T-tops and some sick ass fucking engine. I like those. I like I like mob boss cars.
Ooh,
all of those fucking those. I'll tell you another one, and I like the Datsun. What the fuck was it called? There's a Datsun that people always get. It's like a 4-door Datsun, not a 210, because the B210 was the ugliest fucking car I ever saw. There's a Datsun. Fuck, what is it called?
There is a 210.
There is a 210. All right, is that from the early 70s? Yeah, that's an ugly ass car. That's not the car. There's a Datsun that people trick out. It's almost like those early 70s BMWs, the 2002s that everybody loves. It's sort of Datsun version of that. And these people like trick them out, man. I fucking love those.
I'll tell you what, you know what car my buddy's dad had, and we drove it to Boca Grande, was a Lincoln Mark 7.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the greatest cars. It was so fucking spacious and comfortable, and it drove like a fucking sports car. To this day, I remember thinking that's a car I wouldn't mind having.
Yeah, Lincoln Continental. I do like the one from Entourage, but Entourage kind of
made it cheesy.
Well, made it like mainstream. Not cheesy because it's such a gorgeous car, but
hey,
then I like old school limos.
Oh,
Right, no, dude, I'm talking like back in the 50s. I'm
talking Rolling Stones. When the Rolling Stones did that documentary, they had a limo, like a Cadillac limo, and it just seemed like, why wouldn't I get that car? Like, why wouldn't I have an old school Cadillac limo? It's just beautiful.
There's a Mercedes that John Lennon bought. Elvis bought it. Mercedes just gave some of their creators money and just say, go make the best fucking car that's ever been made. And they wanted it for around the world, like diplomats, dictators. They're the ones that bought this car, and Elvis and John Lennon had this car, and it was just like they made like a stretch limo Mercedes Benz.
Oh.
Like I don't know. I think when you first get into cars, it's almost like you're into the mainstream and shit like that. Like you like the Mustangs and the Camaro. Like I'd say Camaro, my favorite Camaro is the 1970 one that is the Corvette lights in the back and that sharp sort of pointed nose in the front.
Yeah.
Like that thing is just as a monster.
Have you seen the new 2020 Corvette?
No, but I've seen the new Ford Bronco. You seen that?
Oh my God. Well, the Ford Bronco kind of looks like one of those other cars. I like the old school Ford Bronco. The one Rogan has, that's the fucking Ford Bronco I like.
I like the full size one. I like the one OJ had.
Oh,
but not that year. I like the front end on the Ford from 80 to 86. That full size one. My neighbor up the street when I was a kid had the 79 or 78. He had that front end because the Bronco became full size in like 78 or 79. Those things are amazing. Like that's the one you want. And then you take it to a guy who can fix that cap in the back, because every guy I knew that had one, you take it off one time, you never got it on flush again, and they always leaked. So you have somebody upgrade that one.
That's a great fucking car.
Yeah. Now that's not the right front end.
Get much better than the Bronco 2.
Get a 1983 or 84.
Do you remember the Bronco 2, Bill?
Yes.
Bronco 2 had the windows that went up on the top.
Yep.
I remember I got driven to school in a Bronco 2 stick shift every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That probably had a 4-cylinder in it, right?
Yeah. Sam Solario used to drive me to school. Introduced me to the coolest fucking music ever. The Smiths, Susie and the Banshees, Public Image Limited, fucking.
I missed out on all of that music. I was just so listening to metal and anything that had any sort of feeling in it, as far as like, I'm sad. I was just like, this is pussy music.
Yeah, I was very lucky because I got in the car with him. I didn't know him. We just both lived in Lutz, and he was my big brother because they'd pair you up with a big brother when you went to our high school so they could drive you to school. And I remember him picking me up for school the first day, and he's like, you like the Smiths? And I was like, I've never heard of the Smiths. And he's like, well, that's all we're listening to. And for a full year, we listened to the Smiths, Susie and the Banshees. I mean, just all – and now I love that music. I wonder whatever happened to Sam Solario. What a fuck! I knew his sister really well, but it's amazing. Like, just that you'd get into someone's life for a second, and then shift the way they see things forever. Like now, I like that music a lot, because of Sam Solario. Fucking Sam Solario.
You think that can happen to you at this age?
I think that's what the woke movement's about, is trying to shift my perspective. I don't know. I
don't know. I think the woke movement is everybody gets to compete for everything. Which I do not have a problem with.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. I have a problem with people calling themselves woke.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's what other people say. But I think it was like non-white people said it's a compliment. Like, oh, you actually get it. And then somewhere along the line, white chicks just started going, oh, I'm woke. I'm a woke. It's not just that, but whatever. Woke signaling and all of this shit.
Have you had moments with your wife where she, like early in your relationship, where she was like, oh, no, that's the thing. And you saw it, all of a sudden your perspective shifted and you're like, oh, that is fucked up. Yes
and no. I mean, I'm an argumentative person, but like I have this weird thing where like sometimes something, if she says it, I will argue the other side. But then if my white friend says what I was just arguing, I will then argue her side. I mean, I'm like, I swear to God, if I was a chick, I would be the biggest cunt you ever met. I would be a fucking spinster, old maid, and I would deserve every second of it because men are not as forgiving as women. So luckily I was born a guy, and I found a saint like my wife to marry me.
I find the fact that you haven't really talked about your marriage other than this last special a little bit. I find that fascinating. So I'm someone that if anything happens to me, it goes right on stage. Like I'm already trying to write.
I've got in all kinds of shit. Like I can't believe you fucking told that story. I mean, I talk about it quite a bit, I think.
And this last special was the first time I heard you talk about the race dynamic with you and your wife at all. I've never heard.
Oh yeah. Well, because it's not a fact. Like
I know that I'm impressed by it. I'm impressed by it.
This is the thing about all of that. What I've told people is because like when you're at home, it's just the person you're with. So all of that bullshit, it's when you go out into the world that stuff is all applied. But when you're home, it's just the same man woman like miscommunicating things that happen. It's not like oh, is that how you make toast? You know, I'm like all of those dumb things, comparisons about how fucking different you are. You know, that was one of the things, like back in the day when I was doing talents rooms, the Uptown rooms, which was basically the you know, all black crowds. When I first came in, like it was just like culture shock as far as like I was so like, okay, what am I going to talk about? So in my head that all black people to me were just like this one giant Patrice, you know?
Yeah.
And then after like 2-3 months, it became, oh, that guy's like Bert. This guy's like that. And then after a while, it's the whole thing just goes away and you almost like forget. If you do it enough, it just starts becoming like a show, which is what I wanted to end up like having happen. So like that feeds into why I guess I don't talk about my wife in terms of, you know, and my wife who happens to be this. I mean, that was the first time it sort of pertained to what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And plus I hated that when I would see it, because I've seen other comics do that. And I always felt like, so you're sort of, you like are dating a bit. Like you're dating. It's like you put yourself into like a situation comedy.
Yeah.
Because I felt like it was cartoonish to sit there and be like, you know, we wake up, you know, and I put on my white music and then she has this stuff and I'm like, I don't know what that is, you know, like I didn't want to do. I thought it was way more interesting to do it to show similarities than to do the classic.
Well, I found that I always actually looked up to like you and DC Benny, because DC Benny was married to a black chick too. It still is, I think, but it was never like part of his act. It was just like, oh yeah, I fell in love and, you know, whatever. And so I always thought,
I think if it's real, then that's how you talk about him. If it isn't, then it's like how you would talk about like anything. Like one time I was dating this psycho chick. One time, you know, I was with this fat chick.
Yeah.
They just become like a cartoon, you know, and then the bit just be this, because when you're with the big girl, you can't be letting them get on top of you, all that dumb shit. I never liked, I don't know. That's just my own preference.
No, I've always found it admirable. Like, cause I think I've mined everything in my life for comedy. So I think I would have definitely tried to mine that as well. Like,
if there is a particular thing that is specific,
then you
I will do that. Like I remember there was a time when I was doing a bit that actually dealt with us being, you know, of different races. And it was because one of Nia's friends was driving cross country by himself. And he was a black dude. So I was on the phone with him, talking to him like he was a white dude. Going like, oh, yeah, you got to take Route 66 and fucking check out this. And, dude, there's a fucking, you go through Alabama, you got to check out Saw's Barbecue. I was just talking to him like he was white. And my wife heard it, goes, is he driving across country? And this panic got in her voice, and she jumped on the phone. And she's like, stay on the highways. Do not get off the fucking highways. Only drive during the day. And it was like a really like, wow, man, like, this is his country too, and he is driving across this thing the way I would drive across fucking Russia if I had no passport.
Yeah.
So that was a real, so to be able to see that and then see all these people on the internet who try to say that, you know, racism, it was an old thing, it doesn't exist, this whole Black Lives Matter thing is stupid. Like, when I saw that and I heard the fucking terror in her voice, it was like, it's fucking real. Like, and so that was like something that I then took to the stage, how like, because it was something comedic, as tragic as that situation exists, there was something funny about me just talking to him, you know, check out SeaWorld when you get to Texas, you know. You got to get yourself some boots. You know, I was like I was talking to my mom or something.
Yeah. Well, it's so fascinating because I despite my interests, and my interests have always been hip hop in my whole life. I just told someone the other day, when I was in 6th grade, when you talk to girls on the phone, I would have, you know, you had the stereo. I would have 2 tapes in. I would listen to hip hop. But if a girl called, I'd hit pause and put like reggae on. I didn't want to feel like I just didn't think they liked it. So despite my interest,
what about reggae?
Reggae just seemed cooler. Like it seemed like what a cool guy would listen to.
I love that you were that outside yourself.
Oh, I've always been that outside myself.
You're just like, I like this music, but no one's gonna like me.
Right.
What would I have to do to guys that people like? What do they listen to? I think they listen to this. I mean, that really captures that part of, you know, when you're growing up.
Oh, Bill, I can't not get outside of myself on almost anything. On almost anything. Like, and I think it's good. I think it's good and I think it's bad. I think sometimes damage control wise, it's really good because I see things ahead of things and I go, it's not going to come out well. It's definitely why I'm having a hard time buying a car, because the car I want is not too expensive for me, but I feel like, thinking outside myself, it sends the wrong message to, if I pull up at the Comedy Store and I'm in a really expensive car, all these kids who haven't been working for fucking 10 months are going to be like, must be nice.
All right, so if there's no pandemic, what car does Bert pull up in?
Oh, I really want a big-bodied sedan luxury car, like Mercedes or BMW 7 Series, or like the really nice. I love a big-bodied. I've always wanted. Let me rephrase that. I've always wanted, in my dream scenario, to have a big-bodied sedan at my age. Like, whether it's the DTS, the Cadillac DTS, the old school one, like, I want a big fucking
Well, here's
sedan.
the thing. If you want to buy an old car right now it's during an economic downturn, which I don't know how it gets any bigger than this.
Yeah.
You could take a car off somebody's hands, get a good deal on it, give them some fucking cash, and then you can have that thing redone. And the time we come out of this, you'll have, like, you know, dude, like, I like those 70s cars that literally look, those sedans that literally look like you're going to take that little gumball siren and put it on top.
Yeah.
And pull somebody over. I love all of that shit.
Yeah, I would love that. But then I just feel like, and this is clearly, I don't know what's right. Is it right to just go, I'll just get whatever car I want? Or is it right to to think about how that represents the way you look at people? You know, where, like, if I get a super expensive car or a luxury car and I pull up at the store, I feel like an asshole.
Do what no, fuck that, dude. Like, listen, those young kids seeing that, you know, it makes them want to work harder. That's how, if I was younger, that's how I would look at it. And I got to be honest with you, I like live vicariously through people spending money sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
Like, I love Rogan's cars.
Rogan's got great cars.
He's got great cars, and the way he appreciates them. and he could talk about them. He's not just some guy that just, got some money and he buys a car. He talks about what he does to him and all of that type of stuff. But like, I don't know. As much as I come off like a cunt, I really root for people. Like, I don't want to see somebody not succeed. So if I saw you pulling up in that, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It'd be cool as shit.
Yeah, I know. I just feel like I'm very cognizant of, I think because I got so many comics slam me for working, and doing these drive-ins. And I talked to a couple of them that had said things about me. And
Slam
just
me
saying,
for
like,
what?
just the idea that I'm working and they're not working and they can't do it. And it's irresponsible. They just said negative things about me working. And I talked to a couple of them and then said, so, and I realized very quickly they've shifted, and it's just a lot of our friends are not working, and a lot of our friends are in financial hardship that we're not at the beginning of the year. And so I'm very trying to be conscious of like of everything.
I get what you're saying. Just because you're a draw, and if you go out there and then you get this thing to go longer. I mean, I'm like you, dude. I'm trying to figure out how to do shows right now where people are going to be safe. Because I don't.
Drive-ins, Bill. I got you.
Huh? I'm not doing shows where people are sitting in their fucking cars flashing lights at me.
They're not flashing lights at you, Bill. They're fucking awesome shows. It's just like doing a USO show or doing an arena show. It's a big.
All right. Well, I'll look into it. Let's get back to cars, dude. I'll tell you the biggest fucking sled I've ever seen, you probably can't even find one of these cars because they all got junked, is whatever that car is Harvey Keitel drives in Mean Streets. I don't know what it is. I'm going to look it up. I'll look it up right now. Hang on one second. Oh, look at that Caprice Classic wagon. I also love a station wagon. All right.
I love a station wagon.
Harvey
by Georgia.
Keitel car in Mean Streets. It's an 1972 Imperial LeBaron.
A 1972
Chrysler Imperial LeBaron.
LeBaron's a great car.
Look at the mean-ass front end on that fucking car.
Holy shit.
Now, that's a gangster car. Look at that. That's a fucking two-door coupe, man. You could park 2.5 Priuses with that thing.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah, now see, if you got that thing redone.
God.
You know what would be amazing is if you took the fucking engine out, you made it electric, and you did like that fucking Tesla thing where you had a motor on each, on all 4 wheels.
Yeah.
That level of torque instantly. It's fucking quiet as shit. And then you do, like, inside it still looks like 1972, and they just hide where you can plug in your phone and shit.
Oh, I know what I'm doing all day now. I'm looking for a fucking classic car.
You got to do it.
I want convertible or not convertible.
I got a weird thing with convertibles.
Why?
Well, I think like it's a chick car if it's a convertible, unless it's a big car. But then you got to look like Nick Nolte in 48 Hours. You got to have that ex-cop.
What car is that? What car? That's the car I want.
Well, I remember Eddie going a piece of shit sky blue Cadillac, so it was some sort of
Oh wow! Look at this fucking car,
dude. I could do that forever. As far as like figuring out like what the cars were that people drove. I'll tell you a great one too. Steve McGarrett in Hawaii 5-0. Because I'm not good with the Hemis and the Chrysler shit. I know Ford, and then Chevy people always shitting on Ford, so I know a lot of Chevy stuff too.
It's a 64 Cadillac DeVille convertible.
Oh, is it that old?
64. Well, yeah, you think about it.
Was that? You know what I loved about the Cadillac? How the tail fins got bigger and bigger and bigger in like to 1959, and then they slowly tapered them back down. 64. Is there still just a little tail fin on that thing, or no?
Yeah, no, there's a tail fin. There's a big tail fin. Hey, we should get
not compared to fucking 59.
No.
That thing is like taller than me, and then it's got the 2 brake lights on it.
Can we get a classic car guy on here to talk classic cars? I would love to fucking break down cars. I wish they could do with cars what they've done with everything else. Like, literally go, I would love to understand design of cars and how we got to where we are now. And know trends in design of like why the Sirocco had
Car
that.
safety. Car safety. I learned that when I did Seinfeld's comedians in cars. The reason why so many look similar and all of that is because the lines with which that they're allowed to create between used to be it was whatever your imagination could basically come up with. But if you watch some of these fucking videos, dude, that I was telling you about, I like late night on Andrew, what's the Turner Classic movies, late night Friday night, they show crazy shit at like 2 a.m. They'll show like, you know, cult classic movies, and then they'll show like old cop training videos, and they showed like some old driver's ed videos of how you can die behind the wheel, dude, and the shit from the late 50s. It always reminds me of that Leno bit where they would talk about how like those old cars, how they had all this stuff sticking out at you. So you get impaled on it, and then when you die, they yank you off, hose it off for the next guy. But like, dude, that was back when the engine went right back into the firewall, the steering column, you got impaled on that. Dude, I saw this guy slammed into a tree, and he was squirting out the side like toothpaste. It was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
So with that, and all of a sudden, I think what's his face? Who's the guy who ran for president who killed the Cover, the Chevy Cover? Oh God, what's his name?
Ted Kennedy?
No.
Gary Hart?
No, he was one of the good guys. Couldn't be corrupted, and of course, everybody said he was a socialist commie because he was doing something for people. Ralph Nader.
Oh yeah.
So guys like Ralph Nader, I think, started, you know, pressuring car companies to make just the sheer amount of people dying to make the cars safer. Now, here's the thing. His heart was in the right place, but when you look at global warming and all of that, considering we weren't going to do anything about it, and we were still going to pollute the environment, those people dying in a way was a greener thing. It's like you can never, there's always going to be something that suffers. Yeah. But anyways, what I learned from doing the Seinfeld thing is they just had to keep making cars safer and safer. And I mean, it's really incredible now what you can hit and not die is fucking insane.
Yeah, but with like the way you could dissect comedy and say, you know, there's a lot of guys that their styles like this. Well, that's because of Mitch Hedberg. There's a lot of guys whose styles like that, and that's because of Attell or Stephen Wright, or, you know, and I would love to know that with cars, like, oh yeah, that rounded back on the Siroccos because of the Porsche 911, and they also made an Impulse, and the Impulse had this, and it's all based off of this one designer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be curious.
No,
who do you think knows more, Seinfeld or Leno, about cars?
Leno. Because I think Jerry is like his act, very laser focused on
Porsches,
certain types Porsches, but he also liked the Saab Turbo. I remember him talking about that car. Like, he had a very, like, it seems to me he likes that refined European stuff. Like, I mean, the cars that they make over there are incredible. And what the interesting thing about that is, because they considered so many of our designs crude and vulgar, if you look at the landscape, we had all of this land and we had straight roads. So you stick a giant engine in it and floor it, you can do that. And over there, you know, so many of their roads are like old cow paths and shit. And there's all of these turns. So they really had to focus on turning ability and suspension and all of that. So much more so where we were just trying to, like, you know, go down the drag strip and try to beat somebody off the line. They were trying to, like, diving into the corners and all of that type of stuff. I'm really glossing over.
No, but that makes sense. You're right, because our thing was like 1950s drag racing, you know, straightaways. That makes sense.
Yeah, like, I don't think there's drag racing in Europe. Like, and I would think that they would say that is the most basic, crudest form from a distance. Because I've been to a drag racing. It's some of the most fun shit. Drinking beers, just betting the whole fucking day. Yeah. I went where they had, like, well, they had the Big Daddy Don Garlis one. I would rather go to one where it's guys who are working other jobs and work on their car on the weekend. Like, I think those guys are the coolest people ever. So I would like to see that.
I've raced the blowers, which is in the mud. I've raced the trucks, and I've done drag racing. And
I
I'll
thought
tell
it
you
lowers when you added that thing on top of the engine to suck more air in.
I don't know.
Talking about swamp ones where you can go
yeah. Yeah. It's basically the technology. All I know is you hold down a button and floor it. And the second you see the light go green, all you do is let go of the button and hold your hands straight. And it is fucking terrifying.
Wow.
Fucking terrifying. Like it is. And by the way, very doable, Bill. If you ever want to do that, I can totally make that happen. I've done it so many times. But so we went drag racing, and I didn't drive. The guy drove. I was sitting next to him. And they put a neck brace around me, helmet, and then they put my hands in a harness so I couldn't move my hands. They put they basically tethered my hands to the harness I was in, to my seatbelt. And I was like, what? And they go, we just don't want your hands doing anything crazy. You're going to take off and your instinct will be like, what? Like you don't, and none of that shit. We just want you to go, wow. And man, I pulled all the muscles in my chest, just trying to pull away. Like it's instinctual. The second you go, what is it? I want to say it was like 0 to 100 in 3 seconds. It was just, whoa, it was so fucking intense.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm not a speed guy, too. I have a real respect for speed, and I think if you're going to do speed, you have to be a speed guy, and I'm not. Dude, you see the cars I like?
Yeah.
I like RVs and station wagons and trucks. I'm not trying to do that fucking burnouts and all of that shit. I like watching people do that. I have no interest in doing that.
Now I'm going to look up set. We didn't even talk about the book. We'll talk about that.
I would go off-roading, though. I do like that.
Oh, mudding?
Mudding. Yeah, I would definitely do that.
64 Cadillac DeVille convertible is what I'm buying. For sale, Bill.
All right, I got to look it up.
Oh, wow. These are fucking gorgeous.
64, I'm looking that up. 64.
Oh, wow.
What is it? Cadillac what?
64 Cadillac DeVille convertible.
I always think convertible is A-B-L-E. Ooh. Oh, look at that one in silver. Silver with the white walls.
Dude.
Now that car right there, dude, when it's dropped down with that silver with the black, you can't have fuzzy dice hanging from it. That's fucking hacky at this point, I think.
$18,000, Bill.
18,000. You spend another 80 grand and it'll look like the cars you're looking at. I'll tell you the car that I loved.
What's that?
The one Chaz Palminteri back down the street. That caddy in a Bronx Tale.
Oh yeah.
That candy apple red. Oh my God. And I fucking love the 4 headlights, one on top of the other on the front end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those cars. Those fucking gangster cars. The cars, the mob guys, the flashy mob guys. Are you watching that thing on Netflix about Giuliani and in that case when they took down the 5 bosses of the mob family?
No. Wait, what is this called? I got David Foster, and what's the other one? What's that one called?
I don't know what it's called, but you can find it's called it's kind of a weird name, like Scary Town or something. It sounds like a rap metal band.
I'll look for it. Dude, I got to be honest with you, man. Your recommendations have been spot on. We haven't talked about it. We'll save it for the next podcast. But I'm in the middle of Flyboys right now. I want to get done to it. I want to finish it so I can talk to you about it. But there's a bookstore. So I have a P.O. box.
You gotten to the cannibalism part yet?
I haven't gotten to there, Bill. I haven't gotten there. I have a P.O. box, and I tell everyone, send me your shit. I'll put it on my Instagram stories. I'll try to promote your business. And a local bookstore listens to this podcast. It's 5 and under books, 10 and under books. They're all in the Valley. Mm-hmm. And they sent me a box full of books. And they, on the note on the cover, said, this is the book Bill recommended to you. You should read it. Bill, I don't want to talk about this book yet. All I will say is I read the preface. I've never read a preface in my fucking life. I read the preface and I went, oh, that's good. And then the beginning of the book starts with, to tell the story properly, I've got to go back 200 years. I'm the kind of guy that when I read a book, I see that and I go, just get to the fucking story, man.
I fucking hate when they do that.
Yeah.
They got to set the table. It's like, get to what I want to read about.
But it's so fucking fascinating that I'm enjoying every word of this book. Like, I'm enjoying this book so much that at night
I'll tell you what's amazing about that book. Another thing that's amazing is you will look at George Herbert Walker Bush way differently, because his whole public persona was that not going to do it, wouldn't be prudent at this juncture, I'm going to set up a committee and all of that shit. And you see what this fucking guy did when he was 18, 19 years old. Woo!
I actually just started reading about him a little bit. They're introducing the Flyboys right now. And so, and you read that and you're like, what? These are men. These are dudes that are 18 years old, 130 pounds.
At first, it seems like the dumbest name for the book, and then you realize that they really were just adults.
How crazy is it, Bill, that we should stop, because I don't want to. I want to talk about.
I'll tell you something else, dude. Is how new aviation was.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. When the guy was like, "I can take out your whole armada with fucking one plane," and they're like, "I'd like to see that," and he's like, "Don't even hit him on the fucking deck. Just do side bombs." And they fucking took it down in 18 minutes. It's amazing.
But I'm just also saying, though, as far as what they understood about flying, like so much of the shit that we know now today was because of what those fucking guys were doing. I mean, you want to talk about testing the limits of what an aircraft can do, is like if you become a military pilot, if somebody starts shooting at you, there is no fucking way you're going to stay. I think nowadays, I don't think that human beings can fly beyond the envelope of what they have. But back then, you could. And there's stories of guys, like, whatever they're doing. I don't fly planes, but, like, going into roles to try to get somebody off to survive. The blood, and not knowing to fucking, hold yourself tense. The blood going down to their feet. They fucking pass out. And by luck, the blood comes back. They regain consciousness as they're going, like, fucking pull back. Dude, I saw this one guy. He fucking, they shot at him. His plane catches on fire. And one of their big things about piloting was I don't want to burn to death. So the move was with this guy, he said in his head, if I ever catch on fire, I'm just nosing that thing over and that's it. Which sounds fucking insane until you're on fire. So he gets hit. He's on fire. He noses this fucking thing forward. And he went so fucking fast down to the ground because he was on fire that he put the fire out because the fire couldn't be fed by the oxygen anymore somehow. Like, I don't know what. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me because he's still in oxygen. It's just the way it was rushing past caused a vacuum. I don't know what happened, but he ended up putting it out and then pulling back stick.
Yeah.
With his fucking legs smoldering, going, all right, I guess I'm gonna live. And then this is the thing. And then like 3 days, you'd land and they give you like a belt of whiskey to get over it. And they give you a couple of days off, and then you're back in another fucking plane.
Dude, these guys
are shot at again.
When they talk about how the Japanese and how they treated their soldiers, and they're like, no, they would beat us every fucking day. And when they get tired, they'd have us beat each other. And you're going, how does that not fuck up your DNA as a culture? That's your dad. That's all the dads. All the dads. It's fucking.
And then you're just giving each other fucking CTE before you even go. No, there was so much stuff where that happened in the South Pacific that they don't really discuss because I just think because white people basically have been telling the story, they identify more with like Europe. Yeah. So. Dude, the shit, like, how fucking hardcore, dude, just literally the environment of the South Pacific versus fighting in Europe, as bad as the winters and all of that shit, because it was all bad. But, like, just the malaria, the diseases, the poisonous shit, just the shit you could step on when you were out there. Forget about then the culture clash over there where, like, you would never surrender as a Japanese soldier. You would never surrender. And the fact that they viewed you, if you surrendered, you were sub-fucking human. And they already made us not human. They said we had tails. They said if we fucking caught them, we'd eat their children. They did the same shit we were doing to them. It was really, like, I read one time, like, World War II, it was a fucking race war. It was a giant fucking race war.
Yeah.
And we're the supreme, man. God loves us the best. We're the perfect human beings. It was a lot of that shit. And
I've never been more empathetic for Native Americans and Mexicans in my life. Like, meaning I read a book about Empire Under the Moon and Under the Summer Moon, and I read it and I felt like I learned a lot. But for some reason, the way this guy writes, I for the first time in my life, I read it and I went, God, like, and maybe it's all the shit going on in the world right now with it's
also a testament how good that guy is as a writer.
He's a great fucking writer. I was like, God damn it, man, Mexico got fucked. Native Americans got fucked beyond what I already thought that, but then all of a sudden reading this, I got super fucking empathetic, going like, God damn it. And I don't know if it's because he juxtaposed it with the perspective the Japanese had about, well, fuck it, why can't we take China? You took California. You think,
well, a lot of people don't, just like forgotten wars. Like China got in, Japan got into it with Russia and they beat Russia. And then they were going to take some of their land. And that was a big thing because they needed to expand because of their geography. And they were going to do what all the white countries had done.
Yes.
All the white countries got together and said, no, you're not doing that.
You're not white. That's basically, they said,
yeah,
you're not white. Only white people do that.
Yes. So then they're sitting there going like, so what? You think you're just fucking better than me because you got white skin? That just starts that whole. I'm telling you, man. I saw this fucking thing one time on fucking chimpanzees, and I'm telling you, they're human beings. It's the same fucking thing. If they're stronger, they're gonna go in and they're gonna fucking wipe you out, and they're gonna take your stuff. And they got off on the violence, and afterwards they were like fucking strutting around about what they did. And I just saw it. It was, I've never looked at chimps the same way. I fucking can't stand them because when I watch them, I'm like that, as much as I said, watch out for bears. We are those fucking things, except you can play a guitar. And we can do all this shit that we're not as hairy, so we don't look like fucking animals, but we are those things. It's crazy.
All right. We should wrap this up.
All right.
Hey, let's talk about Flyboys next week and go into detail. I would love to see if we can get the writer on next week. I got to be honest with you. I love when we have guests. I like these a lot. This is a very seamless conversation. But we should see if we can get Leno.
I feel like we're going to get in less trouble if we have guests.
I feel like too. Way more.
Yeah, no arguments with the
Leno
wives.
talk about cars.
Yeah, cars is a great one.
Do you know Leno? I met him a couple times.
Yes, I do. I did his Jay Leno's Garage. I did that a couple of times.
I would love to do. I met Leno. We were riding motorcycles through the canyons, and what a fucking solid dude. He just goes out because he's a car guy and goes to the rock shop out up in the canyons, has a cup of coffee, and just looks at everyone's cars, looks at everyone's motorcycles. And so we're shooting Travel Channel, and he comes up, and I said, "Hey Jay, I'm Bert. I'm a comic." And then immediately, just you can see him relaxing. Oh, cool, man. You work out at Hermosa Comedy Magic? And I went, nah, too far for me to drive. He goes, oh, you're definitely a comic. and then we were talking about riding motorcycles, and he said, get a full fucking face mask. Get a full helmet with a face mask. He goes, all your money's made right here. If you look fucked up, you won't be able to work. Get a full fucking face mask. And I was like, cool. He's a great guy. I'd love to get him on and talk about cars.
All right, everybody. Thank you again for listening. This has been another wonderful episode of The Bill.
Bert.
Pod.
Fast.